and we have it's kind of a long title, but it has to signify the importance of what we are doing today. Power Query is a very important aspect of Power BI. A lot of times people don't see the importance because we are focused so much on the reporting layer and we think of the colors, the visuals. We sometimes forget that for us to even get to that part, for businesses in the real world, they care more about the accuracy of our data than the visuals themselves. So if you are not able to do really accurate processing, proper transformation, you can have the most beautiful looking charts, beautiful looking reports, and it will be useless as far as businesses are concerned. So today's topic, best practice in transforming and modifying data in Power Query, is going to be taken by Mubar Dauda, and this session is brought to you by your BizEdge. I want to say by Power BI, by your BizEdge and MHS Analytics. Your BizEdge, we are a training and consulting company here in Nigeria, and if you ever need training, either corporate, like for your company staff, individual, we have walk-ins, online, group classes, all approaches, so we try to make it convenient, and more importantly, we have this continuous learning process where when people come for our training, it's as if they've joined a learning community. We always keep being aware of what is new, refreshing what they have learned. So that's what is special and different about us. Then the MHS Analytics is also essentially your research, but now in Canada. So this is our Canadian arm, and we're trying to do some products anyway. Once the news are out on that, we'll let you know. But in case you have people here in North America, in Canada, US, or anyone who feels more comfortable dealing with the Canadian entity, then for sure, we'll be happy to take them all. So to the main aspect of today's session, our speaker is Mubar Dauda. Is someone whose hand is in a lot of things. So he's a data analyst, Power BI developer, technical writer. I think he also does Power Apps. I don't see it here, but I think he does Power Apps. So he's also very good at training people. He's already empowered over 200 people via different training programs, and today we are lucky that he's going to be also training us on an important aspect of Power BI. So I'm going to hand over to him, but I'll share his LinkedIn so you can connect with him. I'll put his LinkedIn in Teams, in the team chats. And the way we're going to do this session, he wants it to be a bit interactive. So if you have questions, feel free to ask in the chat or raise your hand. Once you raise your hand, I will understand what you mean. I will give you speaker rule. Okay, so yes, over to our speaker, Mubar. Over to you, Mubar. I'll stop sharing my screen and turn off my camera so you can take full charge.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Yeah, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's great having you here. And yeah, so let's deep dive. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, visible, yes.
Okay, thank you. So welcome everyone. Today we will be discussing, we'll be demoing about transforming and modifying data effectively in Power BI, Power Query rather, yeah. So to start with, as Michael has already introduced me already, but I will introduce myself again. So I'm Mubar Dauda, a data and business intelligence analyst. I'm a Power BI developer too, working more in Power BI ecosystem. I'm a technical writer and I love teaching. So I have a channel and a blog where I create tutorials, articles, tutorials, video on Power BI SQL and my life experience in general. So I love reading books, watching anime, and I listen to music a lot. So can connect with me, any of that on LinkedIn or Twitter. Yeah. So today we'll be covering Power Query, which is what we have. So if you're in this session, I expect you to be able to familiar with Power Query already. like not a beginner stuff because an intermediate stuff, because what the topic cover is modifying, which will be going much of into advanced stuff what we have in our agenda for today. So how you can transform, you already should be able to know yourself how you can do basic transformation in Power Query already. So we just go much into it. So introduction to query editor and M code, how you can use them, and how you can use M code for your advanced transformation to save time. So yeah, that's what we're covering for today. So let's get started. What is Power Query? I don't know. Power Query is a data transformation tools available in both Excel and Power BI. That allow you to import data from multiple sources and clean, transform, and reshape your data as needed. So before Power Query comes, some little history of Power Query, we have Power Query is known as Data Explorer. So the reason it's called Power Query, in Excel generally, there is what we call Power Pivot. So Data Explorer is like an add-in in Excel before it now have a body of analytical engine in connecting to multiple sources. So, and there are many incredible features that are dedicated to help you to clean and prepare your data very faster in Power Query. So imagine you in your company, you want to, as an analyst in your company, you want to work on a report given by your stakeholders, and your data and database, website, and different source, like 50 source. And you're like, how do you bring this data, combine everything to do data consolidations to get the objective you want to do? So that's where Power Query comes in. It make it easy for you without stressing to bring on those data from different sources. And so yeah, why should you use Power Query? Like, why is Power Query so important for you to do? So here is some lists of what you need for Power Query. The first thing here is data integration. Because of the analytical engine Power Query has, all the analytical engine, it means you can be able to integrate data from different sources, whether from database, from websites, from Excel files, CXV, from Access database, from Google Analytics, Adobe Express, anywhere your data reside, you can bring it to Power Query without needing any external source. So that's what Power Query renders first. The second thing Power Query renders is data clean and transformation. How you can clean your data and transform it in easiest way. Without writing, and we'll be covering that much when we get there, when we get to the parts. Data augmentation. What do you mean by data augmentation? Combining data together from multiple sources. Okay, you've integrated your data from different sources now, but all these things are standalone data, but you need some data to combine them together to meet the actual need of the report or the objective you are provided in your company. So that's what data augmentation is. Combining those, putting these things together into one consolidated place for easy analysis and easy usage for your reports. So Power Query provides you with all these things to augment your data. If from anywhere is built from, you join them together, you combine them together, you make them together, anyone you want to do. So, and then we have automation. So you can automate what we call in Power Query, it's called parameters. So there are some parameters, there are some Python extension, like Python features or R features you can use to automate process in what's it called in Power Query that Power Query provides you. So repeatability and usage of transformation process. So this is what Power Query still gives again. Assuming you've done some training already and like okay, let's say you have monthly reports in your company, and every month, end of the month, there's new data that comes in every month, and you've already done one cleaning before with the same format, same structure of same data in your company. So instead of you redoing the repeating, what's it called, repeating that same process for the new data coming in, you don't need to repeat it. Power Query has the features. Okay, you just want it connected to it, you copy those things that you already done with the same thing and put it in the new data you just come, and everything will transform automatically. So it's make automation and usage of transformation process easy instead of you going back to the same steps you started before. So Power Query provides that flexibility of using your previous transformation process. And the last thing here that Power Query offers compared to any other transformation tools ever is user-friendly interface. So it's just like drag and drop, just click on the features you want and it will provide you with the codes. So everything will be user-friendly and you don't need to know much of doing the back end. Just look at what do you need? I need to choose column, click on it. It will provide it for you. I need to do this, it will provide it for you. So what again? Okay, now the essence of much of Power Query is ETL process ability it can do. As you all know, from data engineering, database, the ETL process is okay, ability to extract from anywhere, transform it, and load it to the analysis you want to do to achieve what you want to do. So Power Query provide the ETL process as we do. So these are a little diagram of what ETL process is. Let's say this is where your data restores. You have your data stored there in database or file or SAS, different sources, as you can see here. So Power Query gives you ability to extract the data, which is the data integration that we mentioned in the previous one. You will extract the data from any sources where the data might be stored. And once you extract it, you transform it in Power Query. And after you transform it, you load it to your data model, which is your data warehouse, as we mentioned, data model in Power BI. And after it is in the data model, everything else, you can create your report. So that's the whole ETL process in which Power Query offers for analytics and transformation process. So in one of the things we'll be covering today, much of things you'll be doing in Power Query is data cleaning. And data cleaning refers to the process of preparing and refining your data for its quality and consistency and accuracy before further analysis or visualization. So in Power BI roadmap, Power BI pillars, one of the core pillars of Power BI in Power BI process of delivering business value, which is Power Query is one of it, which is the transformation. So without Power Query, without this data cleaning or data transformation, every other analysis you have in front, data model, data visualization, managing and automation on Power BI service, everything will collapse because without this first step, this Power Query stage, every other things cannot function. So this Power Query stage is the first step that's most important for you for every analyst to take much importance on and more efficient on. So you can have accurate results, you can provide valuable insights, and you can provide a very good decision for every of the analysis I make. So, and how can you make your data clean? That's what Power Query gives us, and we'll be doing much of it in our demo. So, here are some common tasks to consider when you want to clean your data. If you just do it, the first thing here is data profiling. Power Query provides us with data profiling ability. The data profiling here, if you know about EDA what's it called in data science stuff, EDA just for you, what are the things you need to know about that, each of your column, each of your metadata in your data points in each of those data that you have. So Power Query will provide you with all of these. Okay, how many valid number do you have? How many null value do you have? What are the distinct count? What are the distinct counts? What are the unique counts? You'll be able to see everything at a go. So, and you know the next thing to do very faster. The next thing Power Query provides data category. You can assign data category, which is data type, while you have your data in it. So very easy. With just a click, everything will change. So replacing value, these are things you need to consider when you want to clean data, and all of this will be covered as we dive into our demo. So renaming column, all of these are very easy we do. So, and filtering. So these are things to consider when you want to clean data. So it's not like a process to do, but your data, you should put at the back of your mind anytime you want to do your data cleaning. Your data set will determine the process of the function you can use to the function you apply to your data cleaning. So your data set will always determine that. No specific guide on how to clean data, but these are things you should consider. You should make yourself understand. So your data sets will always give you the guide on the things to do next. So after that, these are basic step of data transformation. That's for data cleaning. So data transformation, augmentation refers to the process of manipulating or reshaping your data to make it more suitable for analysis. So okay, you've had your data cleaned. So you want to add more data, add more columns. There are some external data you need to bring in to combine together. So you can have very sweet analysis to meet the specific need for your business objective, for your business's report. So that's what data transformation and implementation is, which Power Query provides us. You can add column in Power Query, merge queries from different tables together, append queries, pivot and unpivoting columns. So these are what Power Query offers us. And now we can deep dive into our demo. So yeah, is there any question before we move into our demo?
Any question from anyone? Yeah, so far, no question that is specific to you. The only question or comment that has come up is someone asking for recording to be made available. And yes, the recording will be, we're recording this session and it will be available tomorrow. I think you can carry on. We are good.
Okay. So now we move into our Power BI. Let's okay. So now in Power BI, um, so once you open your Power BI to go into your Power Query, you come into this transform data. So this is where your Power Query resides. So you click on transform data and it will open a new window for you, which is this. You find this here, Power Query editor. So in this Power Query editor, you have a blank. So the first thing we need to do is to bring data that we want to use for our demo. So you come to new source and you select kind of data you want to bring. So I want to bring my data from Excel workbook. And then from Excel workbook, I will look for my file. Okay. So if you notice here, you'll see this connecting here, which is the data integration Power Query offers. So what Power Query does is, okay, it look for this in the analytical engine and go and look for the source that I want to connect it, and it will bring the connection together. So you can see still loading, trying to preview, okay, why am I connecting to it? If it is database, that's the same thing you have. Anyway, you are connecting to, you will establish a connection between your analytical engine Power Query to the source you are bringing it from. So, and there are tons of, so let's bring in these two data. So we're using these two data for our demo. And okay. Yeah. So there are tons of way you can bring in data into over 800 sources. So if you notice here, you will see from file, from if you see category here, from file. So if you have your file extension if you have your file in this format, you can bring into Power Query. You can connect it to Power Query for your analysis from database, irrespective of database you have. So Power Query can connect to it. And then we have this latest one, Microsoft Fabric, which is data flows and stuff. So there is much of Power BI service and stuff. So data flow is okay. Then let's move into that. Okay, we have Power Platform. If you are connecting to your apps from Power Apps, Power Apps. So Power Apps and database is Dataverse. So if you want to connect to your apps, stuff in Power Platform, you have We have Azure online database, which is for Microsoft. There are many other ones that you can do. And you have much of online service 365, different with over 800 ways you can connect to in Power Query. So Power Query gives you those feasibilities, Adobe Analytics, OData Fields, ODBC, ODBC, which is an external database that you will need a third-party connection to external database that you can find. So, and then that's all for how to for the data integration with Power Query. So now let's get familiar into Power Query interface before we now move on. So we have 6 ribbons in Power Query interface: Home tab, Transform tab, Add column tab, View, Tools, and Help. So Home tab gives us all these features that you can do. And then Transform tab, anything you want to transform, you want to delete, you want to pivot column, you want to count, you want to transpose, it gives us all of these. Add column. So what is that column? Anything, every features you see in this or function you see in this add column ribbon, it means it will create a new column in your data. So that is data transformation. It means anything you click in this add column tab will create a new column in your data for your data. And you have this view. So this is what we call data profiling. In this data profile now, you will see this valid for this column now, there is 100% valid. It means there is no error, there is no null value in this column. So this is why we are having 100% for name, and for every other things you have, if there is no value, you'll be able to see from. So it give you the exploratory things you need to cover at a go. So Power Query provides you with all of this. So once you have empty, you know that okay, this column contain empty. So you know the column you want to keep track to treat very fast at a go. So that's for data profiling. How can you activate your own data profiling? So if you open your own Power Query and you can't find it, go to View tab. You see column and column quality. Make sure you check it. You see column distribution. So make sure both of them are checked. Column distribution, column quality, and then the last one you have is column profile. So this column profile will give you each of these, everything in that column that you select. You can see counts, errors, distance, non-value, which is no value, 0, minimum number in that column, maximum number in that column, average. We'll give you the column statistics above if every column you select. So when I select this, you can see these things, minimum, maximum, so different things that you can see. So and that's for column data profiling. So now let's do some basic transformation before we now move on into our M code. So in this home tab, okay, let's say I have we have this data here is a football data. We have name. Okay, let's we have name. We have long name. We have photo URL. We have player URL. So we have nationality. So let's see. Okay, what do we have here? Barcelona. Okay. So the first thing we need to do here, we want to make this data clean, and we'll be doing much of everything, not much here. So the first thing to do here is this. I notice from this column there's much of it doesn't align with other one at the top. So once I click on this column, this row rather, I can see there are a lot of enter. So there's a function we call in Power Query that we call print function. So what does print function does? You can see now print function print any external spaces or enter in a row in Power Query. It will print them, whether it's spaces or enter. You can see that white space now has been covered. So, and if you can see this detail, some columns there, you can see some null value, plenty of empty value. So, which means does it needed? So we are not doing much of what you want to do. So if you have null value here, you delete. Though it's not advisable to delete every null value. So, but based on what you are doing, you're not covering much. So we delete this null value to do some basic transformation in Power Query. Yeah. So after that, we have contrast, position. position, height, weight, preferred foods, POV. So let's say I don't need some other, I don't need some columns there. If I want to remove those columns, there is a way you can remove column. You choose, click on Control to select multiples. When you're having large multiple columns that you want to do, what I will just do is this. Let me uncheck this. I'll come to choose column here. What this choose column means, choose column and remove column are just what's it called? They are word and opposite. So choose column means you want to select column that you want in your data. Remove column means anyone that you select, you don't want it. So if I click on choose column now, you will see all of my column in this data. So anyone that I check here, it means I want it. Anyone that I uncheck, it means I don't want them. So if I uncheck all this one now, they will be removed. They will be removed from my data. So when I click on OK, you will see remove other column. So in Power Query, this apply step here means any step you perform, any training process you perform, you find it here. And there is no Ctrl Z in Power Query. You cannot undo. So if you want to undo, you come here. So if I want to say, okay, I don't want this process that I do again. I don't want to go back to my last process. Like I want this column back. I will just click on cancel and we'll bring all this column that I removed. We'll bring it for me. So anytime you want to go back, you want to undo in Power Query. So you come to this apply step, you cancel your previous step and everything. So let me go back to the last thing I do. So I will uncheck all this. All this one I check now will remove from my data. So let's say I don't need all this. So these are basic transformation in Power Query that you can do. You can choose column, you can remove column. So you can see remove a column. So that's it. So one more thing we can do here is okay, do some choose column. So let's say we want to split column together, or we want to rename a column. So if you want to rename a column, you can say, okay, let's say you want to rename this position to player position. So we'll rename that column for us, player positions. And we have height here, we have weight, we have different things. These are basic transformation we can do. So now, let's now move into our today's things on, okay, you want to transform data effectively. So let's say you have this column here. You have what we call replace value. And this column, in this player position, you have right wing, south wing, striker, left winger, center attacker, midfielder, goalkeeper. So, and the analysis that you want to do, these abbreviations, most of the people you want to communicate to doesn't know abbreviation because most of them want to do doesn't know much of football. So how can you make this more easy for them to comprehend and they can be able to resonate to it? So first thing that you can do to this column is to split this column. I only want the first thing because this person can use, some player here can use more than one position. They can play more than one position. So we only need the first position that they play well, which is the first thing here. So we have what we call split column. You come here, if you want to transform, you come to transform tab here, you will find split column here, and you have delimiter. So what this delimiter does is, okay, you can see giving me, what's it called, comma as my delimiter. What is delimiter? All these characters or anything you want to do based on your own custom delimiter you want to split a column with. So once I click on split column now, you already notify, okay, there are comma that is common in every column here. So I will say leftmost delimiter. What is the leftmost delimiter give us? It means look at the count from the back from here, at this back from the beginning. Anywhere you see the first comma, that's why you should split that column. So rightmost delimiter means, okay, count from the end, which means at the back. Anywhere you find the first comma, that's where you should split. And we have each occurrence. Each occurrence means any position that you find, anywhere you find, if you can find comma in this column 10 times, split it 10 times. But left means, okay, count from the beginning. The first one that you see, split it by it. So what I need here is leftmost delimiter. And I'll click on OK. And once I click on OK, you can see it has split this column with all of these ones from this. and that's splitting column by delimiter and say, okay, you know what? Delete. I don't want this column anymore. So I only want this one. So replace value now comes there. How can you replace the value? Let's say you want to replace this RW.
Muba.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you go on, two things in the chat that I feel maybe I should read out to you. So
Okay.
Osman, about 5 minutes ago, asked, I didn't want to interrupt you until you finish your point on the one you just finished now. So he's asking that what's the difference between distinct and unique? So I think maybe that was at that point where, yeah, if you see this place where you are showing us the profiles,
It's showing 15 distinct and 0
these things,
unique.
yeah. So his question is, I think, related to that.
Okay. What was the second question?
Okay, so the second question, it's more like a request. I don't know how if it's for what we can do more, but let me read what he said. So Shitu is saying that, is there a way you can zoom this view for us that are joining via phone? I don't know if this can be zoomed or it looks like
Okay.
it's zoomed already, but yeah, that's his point.
Coming. No. Control G. I forgot this formula. There is a way you can zoom, but I forgot the formula stuff to do it. So sheet 2, there's a way I can zoom, but I forgot the formula, the shortcut to zoom it. So for what's it called? For Usman. So the difference
Okay,
between
for
distinct and
the
unique. Okay.
sorry, for the zoom one, if you do Control Shift Plus, I think that's the shortcut if I remember well.
Okay.
Did it work?
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it
All
worked.
right. Okay.
So I was using Control Shift minus star before. So yes. So for distinct, this is the difference between distinct and unique. So unique means when a value, a record appear once, only once in a column, that's when it is called unique. And distinct means, okay, distinct and unique are the same, but the reason why distinct is this is, okay, when it appear once, but as in this RW now, it appear multiple times, right? So this RW there might be RW again. So this value now, assuming it doesn't appear multiple times now, in only one here, it will be unique. But once it appears multiple times in a column, it is distinct. So, and that distinct means, okay, RW appear multiple times. We'll count it as one. STW multiply, what's it called, appear multiple times. We'll count it as another one. So if I click on the drop down here, which is filter icon, we can only find 15 things there. Okay, let me say I want to do RW as I mentioned. I filter by RW. You will find RW many here. And if this load, you will see one distinct one. Let's this load now. This load. So you can see there are many RWs. So this, like this time, it is one distinct and is 0 unique because there is no thing, what's it called? This value here appear multiple times. Okay, let me now show what distinct is. So if I say, okay, remove the duplicates here and they appear only once, you will find one distinct and one unique. So it means if a record appears only once in a column and occurs the only once in a column, that's the unique. You can see now. Can you get that? Okay. Is that clear
Yeah.
or should I?
Yes, he has given you a thumbs up that is clear now. He's gotten it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So that's for distinct. So let's move on to what we want to do now. So you do how to split column, which is and now we want to replace. Let's say we have this white winger, S winger. So you want to replace, you come to your what's it called? You can right click, you will see replace value, or you come to transform replace value here. So when I click on replace value here, and you find okay, I want to replace white winger to what? White winger. So I'll click on OK. Same thing, you can see anywhere that I find out W will be right winger. I want to do ST as striker, and there we having like 15. And to save your transformation process, instead of it to be adding more, because the more you have more apply step, the more your Power Query will be moving slower, and it will be affecting your refreshing load time when you want to load to Power BI, or you set up incremental refresh, it will be affecting your model performance, your incremental refresh performance. So to now make these things, there is a function now. This now will now come into introduction to M code before we now move into much of best practice. Let's say we have 15 values there and you want to transform it. So the easiest way to do to make this into is to introduce what we call M code. What is M code? So M code is if you come to your own tab in Power Query, you'll find this advanced editor here. And what does the advanced editor do for us? So in Power Query, we say we have user-friendly interface. So all the functions that have been performing all these things, it is writing a code for us. And these are the codes. You don't need to know the codes, so don't bother about yourself. But if you want to perform, you want to save time in doing some processes, just know how to modify it to suit your needs. So we have we can see all this code now. There are M code, how to bring data into these Excel workbooks, so promoted that. So they have their function. And these are M code. And in this M code, we have okay, I cannot share. I want to annotate, but I don't think I can annotate here. So we have this source. If you see this information, this source here means what we call a variable in Power Query, like the M code. So source here or anything you see at this, anything at this left that you see in this advanced editor at this left that equal to is called what we call a variable. It's called, and what is a variable? A variable stored a function that you want to render later in your process. That's what a variable does. So if you see this source now, Excel workbook, this collection is stored into source. And okay, I want to define another source, which is okay, reference to this source this variable I created source, and bring the data inside this file that I connected to. Okay, and that's okay. Come to another thing for me. Promoted data. I want this to show all this promoted data. I should use the first row in that table for me as the header. And this is what it's doing. And you can see all this replace value. Pick in this last variable that I created. You know what? Replace value for this last thing variable that I created here. And replace RW with white finger. And this is how this is how M code works. So the more you click on this transformation, you do okay. I want to replace ST to striker. I'll say striker. So once I click on striker, you can see replace value one, another replace value. So imagine you're having 50. Okay, we have 15 now. We're having 20. Is this how you'll be with Is this how you'll be what's it called? Doing again. So to save this process, I have a function here that I have. Let's see. There is a content I have here that you can do. I'll put it on the chart. So in case I use this formula now. Sorry for the chart. I have this I have this process here that I do some. Okay, let me find the content so I can put it on the chart. So in this article, I wrote about those transformations that you can perform to make it easy. And using the same data I'm using for them here. So I will share both. Okay, how to replace value. So let me put both on the chart. Let me put those on the charts. So to perform this process, I'll put both these on the chart now. And okay, to make it easier, okay, let me put the value here. So I'll put both on the chart. So before we now move on from here. Um, okay, so to do this transformation here, okay, we have multiple rows there, and we can perform this now. So there are two things I will create. I will create a variable, I will create a list variable, and I will create the function that I want. So just look through what I want to do, and then this is how you can perform all these things very easier. I'll come to my advanced query here, and then I will say, I don't need this anymore. You know what? I don't need this anymore. So let me create a new variable, and I'll say, you know what? Replace multiple records. So you can name your variable anything you want. So in this replace multiple record now, I'll create a list. And this is how you create a list in Power Query. This is how you create a list in Power Query. And you say, you know what you will do? Let me minimize this. Okay, can make it smaller. So I'll say, look for RW for me. So if RW is there, you should name it as what? White window. That's one, comma. So look for again. Look for what? No, not comma. I will use an hashtag because it's the record in a column already. So let's see the transformation process here to do. Yeah. So look for that record. Look for that record if you find it in the column that I want to do. That will be our right winger if it is ST. If it is ST, hashtag ST, it should be equal to what? Striker. So next one, if it is GK rather, it should be what? It should be goalkeeper. And if it is CAM, it should be center attacker midfielder. So let's leave it that way, and you put comma at the end once you're done because you still want to continue from it. Now I'll say, you know what? This now will be my replace value. My new replace value. And let's remove this first one. So because I'm going down. So this is my new replace value. So my new replace value will be okay. You know what? Table dot replace value. Yeah. No, table.transform column. So let's go into my reference here. So table.transform column. So that's what you do. So table.transform column. Yeah, and then what will we pick? We'll pick our last variable here. You can see how these things are referencing. So once they put this formula, they will reference the last thing that you have. So I'll say, you know what? We place this last column that I have. Look at this replace replace multiple value that I have. So that's the first thing. So it means it will pick this list that I have here. And then after I bring down, and I'll say, look at the last table. Which table do I want it to look? Player position. I will reference that column. Player position dot one. Yes. And then after that, let's see our reference here. Okay. And then I'll put in my function. So I'll say, okay, you know what? Look at this column, a dictionary icon will be here. Look at this column and then render this new record that I created, which is new, no, not new replace value. It will be what? Replace value multiple records. Okay, it should be inside the brackets. Yeah, it should be inside the bracket. Okay, current value each record. So yeah, let me say what this each record does. So this function in each function and each clause here, it means I'm telling Power Query to look like, okay, this formula I'm writing, look at each row. If this row first row correct, go to the next row, go to the next row. That's what each variable is doing. Each record field or default here. If this field that I created here, open brackets, if this field, which is the list that I created before, comma, and then underscore, comma, underscore, I will close the comma, underscore, comma, close the, okay, close this and yeah. So what this will do is, okay, look at these new things that I created here. I want to have multiple things. So assuming I have in that 15, okay, let me do for left winger too. So to save my process, I will do, okay, you know what, do for left winger, LW equal to left winger. So, and then after I finish this, okay, and then I'll come here, I will reference this last step that I have here, which is new replace value. So once I click on this now, okay, don't forget at the end here, I didn't put comma here because I'm not creating any new variable. Assuming I'm creating a new variable to the next one, I'll put comma. So I'm creating a new variable, comma. So I will just put the last step I do, and I'll click on done. So once I click on done, okay, there's an error somewhere. Table dot, we cannot convert the value, type record, okay, record of field. So let's go back to this error. Record of field, let me see my reference here. Okay, record of field or defaults. Each this player column name, player position 1, yes, that's the name of the column. Why? Player column 1. Look at the last step. Okay. Okay. I got the error now. Look at the last step. So the reason I cannot find this last step, the last step we have before our list is what? Remove column. Yeah. So remove columns 1. So it means look at this table here, render this table, and give me the function of this list that I created. So once I click on done now, and then you can see
Uh, Hello, Mubar. Can you hear me? I think your audio. I think he's lost connection. Let's see if he can rejoin quick enough. Let me just check if I can reach him. Apologies, everyone. I'm trying to reach him. Uh, it's it's an internet issue. I'm kind of sure. The only thing is if he detects early enough. Yeah, good news. He's back. All right.
hello.
Yeah, your connection dropped.
Yes. I dropped a message like my connection dropped. So
Okay.
sorry, just okay. Let's continue. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Uh, Not yet. I think it's coming up.
Okay. So
Hold on. Yes, now. Yes. So
Okay.
yes, it's visible.
So let me just wait for this. Okay. So for now we can see, okay, so let me quickly revise this. For now, I'll be faster. Advanced editor. So place multiple value. And then my multiple value should equal to a list. First one should be white finger. So it should be named as white finger. So the second one should be white finger. So the second one should be spiker. So the third one should be EAM, which is center attacker feeder. So if you have any other more you want to put, so it's so easy for you to replicate this. If you're having tons of things you want to replace like that, let's say assuming you're having country now and they are abbreviated NG. No, I will not even recommend you should use the one. There are things you can bring external source and make them together to form countries. But assuming you are working in a town and they give you abbreviation not complete, and you need to replace all these things, mostly with survey data, you actually have some of this stuff. And to save your process, so you can modify your query in this way. So go keeper, and then let me stop there. I'll say new replace value. New replace value. New replace value should equal to table dot transform columns. Transform columns. So look at the last step, which is remove column for me. Look at the last step, remove column 1, which is the last step here. This is what you render. And then after you remove the last step, you now open your dict list, like dict icon, this curly icon. You reference the table name, like the column name that you want to transform, which is player position 1. So now say, you know what? Transform this column for me. Player position 1. Player position dot 1. And then after that, comma, each record dot field or default. So it means if those field or are default, anyone that you choose, whether at default you pick that, once you pick that column, anything in it in default, or any record that you find in those fields. So it's still the same thing. If record of field or default, open brackets. So you should return this value that the list you created should be new replace value. Yeah. So you should return this new replace value. No. Yes, I'll replace new replace value underscore. So what does underscore does in M code? Anywhere you see that replicating M code with underscore. Underscore means each row, which is same thing. So anywhere you see each, it's go with this row. So it means you look at this row one by row, one by row, one by row, and apply it. And then that's all. And you come to your last step here. You come to your last step, you change it to the last step that you have in your, it's a new replace value. So once I click on OK, New replace value wasn't recognized. Okay, spelled incorrectly. New replace. Is it the same thing? Yeah, you see. New replace value. Okay. I use new replace value instead of new replace multiple value. The list I created. So you need to take note of that. Replace multiple value. The list you created is what you're passing into this parameter for record field, and that is done. So when that is done, if you scroll into the column now, you will find multiple of these things. You can see white winger, goalkeeper. So in how many steps? So you can replace all these 15 or 20 steps you want to do in just two Power Query line steps. That's how you can modify your process. So that's one. And we have other things that you want to do. Let's say, okay, you want to split or you want to extract. You have all these you want to do all of this one now. So there are two column here, value, wages, and you want to do your transformation. So there are way you can do this, extracting, or you can say, okay, you know what, extract or split by only digital stuff. But what I can do in this way, so I need to bring this number here. Only the number is what I needed in this analysis. I need only the number. So how can I bring it while saving the step? You see, I cannot say, okay, you know what? If I say, okay, split or extract. If I say split by number of character, by non-digit to non-digit, there are way you can split column here. Then I see by non-digit to non-digit, it still give me those values I want to do. And if you keep doing all those stuff, you have 4 columns like that, 3 columns. So easiest way I can do this is I hold on control, select that 3 column that I want to do. You know what I want to do for me. Come to transform. I want to extract all this. So it means I want to perform these 3 transformation on these 3 things at once because I have something similar to them. And I'll say, you know what, extract um, test before, no, test after delimiter or test between delimiter. So I'll say I want to extract test between delimiter. So I'll perform something as in I'll perform one function to apply to 3 things I want to do at once. So start delimiter should be this value here. Hey, how can I find this value? Cannot find it though. So let me hold on. Let me copy it. So let me copy it, Control C. And I'll come here, hold on, Control, extract, test between delimiter, only the number in between them. I'll say, look, the delimiter should be this place, and delimiter should be M. So advanced thing that you want to do is, okay, start input, number of delimiter to skip. I don't want anyone to skip because I only want the number between them. So once I extract, you can see I only have this number here because there is K here. So I can see all of them here. There are where I can do this one. I can come here and modify because this one is K. So there are one that will be K here. I think there are one that will be K in this value too. Okay, it's only M. So for this K now, I will come to this wage and I will say, you know what? I don't want this K here. I will say put K. While modifying my encode, you can see it doesn't take me much stress. Instead of me doing one by one, split column by delimiter or extract first one, do for the same second one, do for the third one. So these are the way you can save your process. These are the best processes you can do to transform and modify your data very faster, efficiently. So that's another way. So the last one we do here is how to split column in advanced way. So I have this column here that I want to do. And I want to extract the link out of this place, and I only just do one thing here. So I want to extract the link. There are different link scenario. There is www, there is HTTP, there are many things to do. So if you want to split, you already know how to split column by delimiter, split column by delimiter, and you can split it by your HTTP. So I'll say, you know what, custom, I'll split by HTTP for me, HTTP slash. So when I do HTTP plus, you will see, okay, all these ones that have column, they are split them by HTTP, but there are some other ones that are not here, that are www Some are even, let's see what some are aka.ms, and you want to split them by this. You cannot be doing it to repeat that same step one by one anymore. That's why you have an M code, how you can use M code to transform very faster. Okay, I have we exceeded the time?
Mm, kind of. Do you need a few more minutes? Like,
Yeah, I just need a few more minutes to do.
okay,
So
all
to
right, you
just
can.
so for us to transform this in multiple steps, just to save time and do it very faster, there is a function called in M code. So I will pull M code documentation here so you can go through it. So I'll pull M code documentation, M code. So using M code very well. This is why I learned about much of M code, how to make things transform. So let me just drop the documentation so you can see our query and formula. So you can go through all of this function here. In splitting column, there is a way you can split your column. So there's a function in M code that is called split column by any delimiter. So you see, because we use split column here, you can only split by one. So any delimiter means we can pass in multiple things you want to split by. So instead of us splitting one by one, so if I say, okay, split column by any delimiter now, and I can come here in this code, I will come again, you know what, look for www dots. After that again, look at aka.ms or anyone, aka.ms. So after that again, comma, look at bit.ly, bit.ly. So after that, so let's say I stop here now and I say, okay, you know what, look at this for me. And when I click on enter, all you know that is no, you find it Microsoft, you find the link in between them, comma, sorry, then close that. Okay, pattern argument list. About the function between 1 and 3 details. Okay, column by n delimiter. Let me put in a list. Yeah. So, I mean, for now, you can see this error is showing me that because I didn't put them because I'm having multiple parameters that I want to pass and it doesn't belong to I didn't pass in them into a dictionary as Power Query function parameters does. So if you notice now, all the ones that contain www and stuff like that, some of them have been already be. You'll see bit.ly, aka.ms. So this one are aka.ms, bit.ly stuff. So this is how you can perform some Power Query function to make your transformation very easier, very faster. So when you're having much of latching to do. And one of the easiest way, other one about using Power Query is okay, let's say you have the same data again for your next month, you're having it recurring, like a recurring data like this every week or every month. So you can use this, your M code that you have, come to M code, copy this, you can save it somewhere. And anytime you have that same data, same structure, just come to your advanced editor and paste it there. It will transform same things for you. You'll perform all those things. That's why it's usable repeatedly. So that's all we have for today. Yeah, question can come in, Mr. Michael. This is how we stop for today.
Okay. Checking if there are any outstanding questions. Okay, so Sulaiman was saying thanks for the clarification. I think he asked the question about unique and distinct.
Okay, next things.
Okay, so um, all right. So I'm looking at the chart to see. All right, so I have a question anyway. I see you
Okay.
used list. So have you, apart from list, Are there other, so there is list, there's dictionary, there's this other one, are there other types of these non-usual, non-tables data type that you've had to use within Power Query to achieve things faster, apart from list that you showed us?
Yeah, there is these the one I actually know about is list. I know about list, I know about dictionary, and I know about parameters. So parameters there is creating like a function. Okay, let me show what it is. And do much. Okay. Parameter is creating a function that maybe you like what we just do now for a this column or in the column, okay, and I want to do that for many other things. So I have like 15 tables that require the same thing. So instead of me using this thing, I can just create a parameter function. Once I create, let me just create this parameter any value. So let me just let me create this parameter 15, 12, or 13. So we have this parameter here. So anytime I want to do what's it called? I have like a function I want to do like to a specific column as I'm doing all this one. And I want to apply it to many other columns so like that. Instead of me going to stuff like this, I will just come to this parameter. It depends on how I created the parameter. It can request for a table, it can request for a column. I will just say, okay, you know what? Look into this parameter and do it for me. Easiest way I can talk more about this parameter is using a date table. There is a way I use the parameter for date table. So I created a function in advanced editor, and I will say, okay, look at the data, the sheet that I have in this column. Look at the dates for me, the start date, the end date, and give me the function I do. So I think that's the best. That's the only thing I have known since my experience with Power Query. List, dictionary, and parameters. That's the only way I know more. So
Thanks. So a question came in. So Sulaiman is saying that, please, what are the differences between Power BI and Power Query?
okay, thank you for that, Lemon. Power Query, Power Query is an should I say extension? Can I call it extension, Mr. Michael?
Uh, I think the way you said it in the beginning, I kind of like that one. There is the data integration,
Explorer.
data
Yeah,
ingestion
data
part of the.
integration. So Power Query is an analytical engine. So because Power BI is more complex, and when you say okay, let me use simple scenario now. Let me use simple scenario now. In in your phone now, in your phone, okay, there's what we call camera, and you have other app like Snapchat, right? Snapchat is an app that require camera, right? For you to get. Same thing that camera is integrated in your phone. So a Snapchat is an app that you have access to your camera, but give you more features and more functionality to apply to your photo that you want to do compared to your normal camera integration that you have in your phone. So picking Power Query is okay. Power BI needs something that will clean the data before it can do analysis. So the analytical engine that are available for Power BI for cleaning and transformation before analysis is Power Query. So before you can do anything in Power BI, you need to pass through Power Query first. So Power Query is the like an extension because it is wide on its own, it is big. So they cannot put it with Power BI. That's why you have a new window, like a new integration that you perform everything first, and you now go and store. After you finish everything you want to do, you now click on load. I don't know if you have worked with Power Pivot in Excel before. Same thing you do in your Power Pivots from Power Query there. So just like I won't call it much of extension, but okay, in Excel you have Power Pivots, right? So those are add-ins. You have add-ins. So I will take this before Power Query is not called Power Query, it is add-ins like that, which is Data Explorer. But the more complex now it is, It's just like a part of Power BI, which is your first thing that you do before you now go into Power BI. If I minimize this now, I click on click and close and load. It will take all those things that I perform. It will load it into what we call Power BI here. Because you can see all those transformation that would is big. We can't do it here in Power BI. So it's a combine is a what's it called? Should I don't know if I put it in extension way, but let me put it in extension way. So it's like extension that will do. So everything that you see now, all those data, you'll find it here in your Power BI in data view. So you can be able to, but if you want to transform anything, you cannot do transformation in Power BI. So you need to go into Power Query. So that's why you have all those things. You want to integrate data, you want to bring in data, you want to clean. You cannot perform it in Power BI here. Power BI is only meant for model and reporting. So any transformation and cleaning is done in Power Query. So that's why I call analytical engine. I think, hope that answer your question.
I think so. I'm looking at, so yes, I think looking at what he asked, and yes, yes, you've done that. So thank you very much. I think we have come to the end. I've pasted in the chat the link to, oh yes, he said yes that you've answered. Then I've pasted it in the chat. You can connect with Muba on LinkedIn. Also, if you want a speaking slot, I've also put the link in the chat if you want to indicate to speak. And also, please give us feedback of today's session. And with that, we have come to the end of today's session. We want to say a special thank you to our special guest, Muba. He's done a wonderful, he's covered a lot, It's a lot when I was just thinking through all the many practice data you have gone through today. It's a lot that you've taken us through in this 1 hour. I know for some people, they might, towards the end, might have been difficult for them to fully remember all the steps. But the good news is we are recording this session. By tomorrow, the recorded session will be up on YouTube. So let me just grab the YouTube link and share. So the recording will be up on YouTube by tomorrow. You can check this link I'm sending right now, and you can watch it slower, you can pause, you can try things on your own, especially that part of having to do a custom query, and using that to replace multiple things, repeat multiple things instead of having to do them one by one. So thank you very, very much. And I think with that, we will have come to the end of today's session. We don't have any outstanding questions, right? So thank you. And Muba, thank you for the wonderful session. And to everyone, have a wonderful Sunday ahead.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank
Bye.
you, Mr. Michael. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
same
So,
here.
let's
It's a
see.
pleasure
Okay,
to, yeah, bye. Thank you to
bye.
everyone.
Okay.